Hi, my name is Precious, and one of my bachelor's of science is in psychology. Today, we're going to talk about why you keep going back to people who hurt you according to neuroscience. If you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, why do I keep going back to someone who hurt me? Then this video is for you. You're not crazy, you're not weak, you're not broken, but you are human. And neuroscience can explain why your brain keeps pulling you towards something or someone who hurt you. Okay, let's unpack it together. The truth is, your brain is not wired for happiness, it's wired for survival. In survival mode, your brain prioritizes familiarity and predictability over peace and emotional fulfillment. This is tied to the brain's default mode network, which is active during introspection and reflection. The DMN, which is the default mode network, so according to Buckner et al. 2008, it relies heavily on past experiences, especially the emotionally charged ones, to guide our present perception. So if you grew up with inconsistency or rejection, your brain recognizes those patterns as normal. Even if they're harmful, your brain will choose familiarity because it mistakes it as safer. This is the basis of what Bowlby established in 1982, described as attachment theory. Our earliest bonds, especially with our caregivers, become the blueprint in what we view love and connection. If instability was part of your childhood, your brain internalizes that love comes with pain, that chaos is part of closeness. So when you find someone in adulthood who mirrors that dynamic, it doesn't feel wrong. It feels familiar, and familiarity is mistaken for safety. So we're going to talk about the chemistry. We're going to talk about dopamine and trauma bonds. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It's the brain's feel-good chemical. It's responsible for pleasure, reward, and reinforcing behaviors. In healthy relationships, dopamine is released in moments of laughter, intimacy, and affection. But in toxic or unpredictable relationships, dopamine is tied to something called intermittent reinforcement. So this is when the reward, which is love, apology, or attention, is given unpredictably and also inconsistently. According to Ainslie in 2001, this creates a more powerful pattern, especially in the brain, than consistent rewards. So each time the partner withdraws the love and then suddenly gives it back, this actually creates a spike in dopaminergic levels that the brain craves. This creates a trauma bond, which was established by Patrick Carnes in 1991. This is where the victim becomes emotionally and chemically addicted to the cycle of abuse and reconciliation. The high of feeling accepted again feels euphoric versus the low of feeling dismissed. And so the brain starts craving that reconciliation, even if it means enduring more harm. This is actually the same neurochemical loop that is seen in gambling, addiction, and compulsive behaviors. And no, you're not addicted to the person, you're addicted to the pattern. Okay, now let's zoom into the brain structure now. So the amygdala is your brain's alarm system. It stores emotional memories, especially those associated with fear or trauma. It triggers your flight or fight response. In a toxic relationship, this is the part of your brain that becomes hyperactive. It's always alert for the next emotional blow. The problem is, the more reactive the amygdala becomes, the less access you have to the prefrontal cortex, which is the side of your brain that is responsible for emotional regulation, logical thinking. According to Arnsten 2009, chronic stress actually impairs the function of the prefrontal cortex, and it also enhances the activity of the amygdala. So yes, when you're in a toxic relationship or dynamic, you might know it's unhealthy, but your brain is too dysregulated to act logically. This is why you might justify their behavior, downplay your pain, or even believe that it's your fault. This is because your emotional brain, which is your amygdala, is driving the car, and your rational brain, which is your prefrontal cortex, is silenced by the stress. Cognitive psychology actually teaches us that our early environments form attachment template. This shapes how we seek love and intimacy later down in life. So if your caregivers were critical, inconsistent, and emotionally distant, or even hot and cold with their affection. Hot and cold meaning one day they're really nice to you and then the next day they're being cold to you. Your brain may have learned that love has to be earned or chased. According to Mikulincer and Shaver in 2007, these early attachment wounds resurface in adult romantic relationships. We unconsciously seek out people who activate our childhood pain, hoping that it will end differently this time. This is often referred to as repetition compulsion. The brain is trying to master what it never had control of as a child. This inner child, often craving validation and emotional security, often picks partners who reflect the same instability. The hope is, if I'm enough for this person, then it proves that I was always worthy. But instead of healing, this repeats the same trauma and deepens the wound. There is hope because our brain is neuroplastic. It can change, it can rewire, and it can build new pathways. Doidge in 2007 described this as when you create new experiences of safety, self-love, and emotional consistency, you literally reshape the structure and the function of your brain. But the thing is, your brain doesn't just change because you know better. It changes when you experience better. Healing happens through repetition, not revelation. That means you have to be intentional with choosing relationships, routines, and even habits that reflect peace, consistency, and also care. Start by slowing down and creating distance from chaotic stimuli. Learn what safe love feels like, not just looks like. I want you to practice boundaries even when it feels uncomfortable. Surround yourself with people who don't confuse your nervous system. You're not just breaking a habit, you're rewiring decades of conditioning. That takes grace, time, and support. So if you keep wondering why you keep going back to someone who hurt you, it's not a flaw in your character. It's a reflection of how your brain and your body has learned to survive. Your nervous system adapted to chaos. Your dopamine system adapted to pain. Your inner child adapted to rejection. But now you get to adapt to healing. You get to build new pathways. You get to change the patterns. You get to choose differently. Not because it's easy, but because you deserve love that does not require you to abandon yourself. You deserve love that soothes your nervous system. You deserve love that makes you feel safe in your own body. And that starts with choosing peace over familiarity. That starts by choosing you. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Just to let you guys know, the references that I used to create this video will be included in the captions. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, and let me know if there's anything you'd like me to further expand on. Bye.